Welcome to Surfside Stories. I am so honored to have today one of my very good friends here beside of me, Mr. Jay Kinlaw, the man who we call Superjock, because he can do it in the studio. And if he can't, it can't be done. But thank you so much for joining, Jay. And
I appreciate the invite.
I tell you, a couple of things I need to ask you first to let the people know. You've won the last few years some good awards with the CBMAs. I know you don't brag on yourself, so I'm going to have to ask you to get you to tell us a little bit about those awards. Then we want to know how you got started.
Okay.
How you became a DJ, where you came up the line, where you started. We want to know the cities, the people, everything that you can remember, brother. And it's your turn. Now, take it away.
Well, it's a lot to cover. Like I said, my life has been scattered all over everywhere. But most of the success was always in Virginia, specifically Charlottesville, Richmond, center part of the state, and the Carolinas now.
Is that where you grew up in Virginia?
Yeah. In Charlottesville. And I said as far as the awards that you mentioned, like I say, everything kind of busted wide open for me in 2016. I got my first CBMA nomination, and I can't tell you that was certainly one of the highlights because I never figured that would happen. Like I said, just there are beach music DJs and there are shag music DJs, and I sort of fell on the shag side for a while because my first 3 years down here I was working for H. Lee Brown at the OD Pavilion, and that's all shag. Yeah. Yes. And then along the way, like say my attraction to the live bands and the old school beach music, like say, has really been my I guess my welcoming card or my business card when I would come in, because I was still playing the Catalinas and the Embers and the Chairmen and the Shakers and all of those groups when I got here. And when I first got here, most of the DJs at the Pavilion were not playing any of that. And they were very, very good at what they did. They were experts. They did their 50s R&B, 60s R&B stuff that the shaggers loved the most. But I could not deny the fact that I had a love for beach music. And the fact that the first year that I got nominated, I was stunned just because of that fact. And like I say, that was just a great day in my life, just to be accepted or have your work noticed. Then fast forward about 4 or 5 years later, 2022 was the first time that I won my first CBMA, and that was for the radio show of the year. And that was right after I had taken over the Surf Countdown show from Mike Worley.
Right.
Again, I was stunned because I knew what I was presenting wasn't as good a product as what Mike had done for 5 years. And I was just thrilled to death to finally have one of those.
Let me say, I think you'll find a lot of people that will disagree with you on that. Mike was a good friend of mine, did a great job, but you stepped right in and you took it to a new level.
Well, I don't know about that. I've said it before. I think every person that has ever done that countdown, whether you want to just say that they presented it differently, or if I think everybody rose at the bar each time someone took it over. I remember back when Ray Scott did it, and I remember for years and years Ted Bell doing it, and then Mike Worley taking it over. And like I say, I don't want to be a copycat on anything, but at the same time, I wanted to present something different. And with me, always energy is going to come. I wish I could be calm, be cool, be collected. If that show was recorded at 5 a.m. in the morning, it would still have the same energy. It's just, that's my attraction to a microphone. There's always been a joke among band members talking to me. He never met a mic he didn't like. He can't shut up. But that first year,
that's an asset.
Yeah, I hope so. But it's opened a lot of doors for me throughout my career. But like I say, after 2022, that first win for the Surf Countdown radio show of the year, then 2023, a repeat, 2024. Like I say, we jumped in again. And like I said, I felt like recently I had no problem whatsoever with this year's winners, and especially the categories I was nominated in. Like I say, Eric Bowman has been very deserving for many, many, many years of any accolades that he could get. He does a first-class, top-shelf project every Saturday, and he gets to go 20 songs longer than I do, which constitutes 2 hours longer than I do. If anybody is deserving, it is Eric. And like I said, this being the first year that I did not win that category that I was nominated in, first thing I did was apologize to Bo Gilbert because he was the one responsible for bringing me in. And I mean, he won straight through, 5 years with Mike Worley and 3 years with me. And I felt like I let him down in some way, but he let me off the hook. He said, he goes, absolutely not. He goes, nothing lasts forever. And sooner or later, you've got to roll out the red carpet for the people that deserve it. If anybody knows that, you should. And that was a great thing to say. And that really eased my mind. And then 3 years ago, first time ever, I won Club Mobile DJ of the Year.
I remember that.
All my life, or at least all my adult life, being a beach music fan, that was to me the gold ring. That was the big one, because I was always more of a club mobile DJ than the little intervals that I did with radio.
So that's how you saw yourself then.
Absolutely. And but at the same time, like I say, I was, I always think, when I get up to accept the Club Mobile DJ of the Year, and like I say, every year, and this will never change. First two people to thank, first of all, is God. Second of all is Johnny B, because it was his to lose for 20 years. And if he had not stepped down and removed his self from that category, there's no way else I think that I would have gotten in there. But thank you, Johnny. I appreciate it, man. You're a good man, Johnny B. I don't care what anybody says about you. But like I said, and there's a lot of truth to that. But like I say, the bouncing between the radio show of the year and the Club Mobile DJ, those are good accolades to have, and I'm overwhelmed that so many people thought enough to vote for me to make that happen.
Very deserving, and we won't get into it now, but Johnny B is very much responsible for me getting into beach music.
Right.
I did not. Most people don't know that in our history together, but he was a good man. But something that came to my mind while you described, what is beach music?
Beach music, I think, is some people will say it's indescribable. There at one time, it's kind of changed, and now we have all these different factions. I look at beach music as if you were looking at a bicycle wheel. It has many, many spokes on it to make it all turn. Like I say, it all started, with our love for 50s and early 60s R&B music. So, a great deal of, the Tams and the Hank Ballard and the Clovers and the Temptations and the Drifters, all of that stuff melted together. That's what I think is the core of beach music.
Okay.
And then came so many of the bands in the 70s to contemporary times now, where in the 80s there was a great deal of a presence from the beach music bands who were covering a lot of these songs by those groups that I just mentioned. Yeah. But at the same time, they were forging their own with songs like Summertime's Calling Me, Myrtle Beach Days, That's Summertime to Me, Carolina Girls, and I Love Beach Music. All those things, are important, and it's just like you got that one spoke, that's the old school R&B stuff. And then you've got another spoke, that's the beach music bands. Then you've also got, if you look at it this way, you've got radio DJs, you've got internet DJs now, you've got, different artists from different genres, stuff like Van Morrison, Rod Stewart. They've contributed a great, great deal of contemporary Carolina beach music. So it hasn't been just where we're confined to songs about, let's drop the top on the convertible, let's fill up the cooler, and let's go to the beach and then listen to some beach bands. I mean, that is a great concept, and I love it when people still have something new to say with those exact kind of meanings. But at the same time, those kind of things, are kind of hard to, I don't know, make ironclad, or to connect with people now, because you've already heard what everybody seems to think is the best, like Summertime's Calling Me, or I Love Beach Music, or Ocean Boulevard. But at the same time, like songs like last year, a guy named Gary Alexander, who was a former member of the Entertainers, had a song called There'll Always Be Beach Music. And man, I just loved that song so much. Starbuck currently has a song called Beach Radio.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. It didn't get a lot of love on the countdown, neither song, but those songs are the equivalent to what what first attracted a lot of people like myself to the genre.
Well, if I must say at this point, a lot of people that I've heard give you accolades for the fact of how you work these new songs in, how you get them on the floor, and how on Saturday morning you let us know which ones the people like. I'm getting a lot of requests for this on the dance floor. We love hearing that.
Good.
And it takes you being on both sides of the coin to let us know those things.
Good.
And we thank you.
I appreciate that, because there are so many of the songs that are new, current songs that other DJs seem to not play for shag clubs or in the clubs, whatnot. I'm just going to give you an example, something very current. Pink Slips, God is Great. Like I said, it is a perfect shag song. Every time I've ever played it, it fills the dance floor.
Yeah, okay.
And like I say, I don't understand why. I've even been in clubs or around other DJs, requested the song, and they still didn't play it. But, there is that, and the thing of it is, not every beach music song or even every song on our countdown is a beach music song. It might be something that was recorded by somebody who lives here in the Carolinas. It may not be perfect shag tempo. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I know exactly.
Like I say, but at the same time, it falls right in the groove with what we're doing. And there are so many of the groups now that stay prevalent with their original stuff. Rick Strickland, Lisa Hudson, Jim Quick, those people like that, they write their own songs, they perform their own songs, and it's very, very seldom you hear a cover song.
And a lot of originals coming from Too Much Sylvia also.
Absolutely. All of their hits, like say, have been self-penned, And, but, I think that there's a great deal of, I don't know, I hate to say differences between the beach world and the shag world, but there is, and
there is, and there again, there's something else the public has recognized, and I've heard, and they talked about, and there are some DJs who love the old stuff. They just are not good at accepting new.
Sure.
And it's that way in a lot of things in life, and more than just music.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But going back to, I spoke earlier of Ted Bell.
Yes.
I used to go
a
in.
Legend.
A legend and a hero and a mentor. I mean, he offered me a job at the Surf years ago, and I wasn't smart enough to take it. But, sitting in the studio with him, like say, and watching him weave his magic, one day I remember him finishing the countdown, and we had a little conversation, a little powwow. And he said, I know that some of these songs are nowhere near as good as the originals that were recorded. But at the same time, somebody has to wave the flag for the future. And we need to celebrate the new music that's being recorded by new artists or the established artists that are already out there, in the event that they were to cover an old song,
Oh, that's well said.
It is, but that's what made him one of the best in this business.
Well said.
He and I never forgot that. Matter of fact, it rings true every Saturday morning when I get in there to find out what the countdown has turned out to be, because I don't know until I walk in on Saturday morning, what the status is. But
And they do jump around, don't they?
oh, don't they? But the thing of it is, people. I think I've heard people. I don't know, express displeasure or whatever. They say the number one song doesn't change enough. Well, the fact of the matter is, if something stays number one for 10 weeks, that's only a couple months.
Yeah.
That's not that long in the scope of a whole year. Exactly. And like I say, I just, our top five is always pretty strong. It doesn't, they might change, one notch or two, but the fact of the matter is, like say, those songs are always going up and going down.
Yeah.
And, I try to express to so many of the up and coming groups, or even the established groups that have been around 4, 5, 6 years. They still haven't had their number one song yet. I keep telling them, like, say, you just got to keep going to the well and keep, coming back out with something, simply because when people are doing their voting and whatnot, you've got groups out there like Jim Quick and Coastline, the Band of Oz. Like I say, when those groups record new material, they have such a wealth of fan base.
Yes.
That, it's really hard for anybody else to get in over, something like that. Because when they put something out, man, the people are on
They've
it.
got the Coastline Crazies.
Yes, Lord.
The large group, and that's a lot of them. And I heard Charlie Sattenville did a podcast to him a few weeks ago, and he said in Nashville they told him you got to write 1,000 songs before you get a hit. And now I don't think recording songs for the groups, but that's very much the same as what you're saying.
Oh, absolutely.
Getting the people to, the more that you get out there, the more chances you have of getting the one that hits people in the heart.
You got it. And Charlie's been very, very good about that. He's a dear, dear friend of mine. We got a lot in common if you knew both of our life stories. But like I say, the fact is, he very much, as a songwriter, I give him accolades the same way I give them to you as a producer. Like I say, because, like I say, you'll work with somebody that's as huge as Jackie and Terry Gore, and then at the same time, you do great work with Deb and Marlisa, and I could go on with examples, but Charlie is very much the same way, and it's taken him a lot to get to the TAMs, to get to their ear, and come up with something. And
they did a great job with that.
Absolutely. But Charlie does a great job of writing songs for not only men or alone with women, like say, single female artists, or even making duets, because he does a wonderful job, yes. Like say, and has done great with, like Marsha Morgan and Deb Browning. And the list goes on and on and on for people he's had record his songs. But at the same time, both of y'all, like say, are really, really coming to your own in these last few years.
Well, let me tell you, Charlie and I had this discussion, and if it weren't for people like you out there, the DJs that play our songs, we would have nothing. We love having you guys out there. We love it when you fall in love. Even if you don't fall in love, we love it when you play the songs. But you make the world turn. You make the records turn. We just give you something to work with, but you're the workers in the group, and we thank you for that.
I appreciate that.
Charlie and I have said this together.
one of the most proudful things that, and I'm not even going to say who said it, but like I say, one of the most proudful moments that I had was a person who's been in beach music all of their lives. This past summer came to me and said, your presentation of not only my music, our music, like I say, is so far beyond most people's delivery. And I said, you know what? I've worked really, really hard at that. Like I say, even when I'm in the DJ booth at Fat Harold's or playing for a shag club or a wedding or any event, like I say, I try to sell the song. I try to sell the artist with my intro to the song. It's to try to create energy or interest, either or
both.
For what or both for what you're getting ready to play. And I think a lot of people don't take that into consideration. A lot of times, there's a lot more to DJing than just punching buttons.
Amen. Amen.
But at the same
I spent
time,
4 years in the studio up at WST. I learned a lot, but I'll never be anything like the Superjock. I'll tell you that.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that, Wayne. Come on now. But I love what I do. I love the people that present the product for me to use, because without the new product, there'd be no reason for a countdown.
True.
And you got so many people that have popped on the scene. Nadia Shipkowski was up in Charlotte. Now all of a sudden she's making 2 or 3 different good shag songs. We got a great lady here in the North Myrtle Beach area, Jennifer James. Like I say, I think she is going to be something to keep your eye on for down the road.
Sweet as she can be, great voice,
absolutely,
and very pretty,
and she's easy on the eyes. But at the same time, her first track, out of Sand City Productions. That Carolina's Calling. Again, it's another spoke of the wheel. It's, it speaks of the topic I was talking before. Let's go to the beach and, let's leave our troubles behind and all that kind of stuff. But, I relate to it because all my life when I was in Virginia or Maryland or any of these other places where I was working, Carolina was always calling. So the lyrics to that song that she put out just hits me in the heart every time.
Another one that you mentioned you like that I like very much is that one by Andy and Onita.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Cruising down the boulevard.
Just out of the middle of nowhere, it tells our story.
And I love the fact that they had a little play with the words in there, listening to the surf.
Yes.
Like I said, that doesn't necessarily mean the radio. It doesn't mean 94.9 the surf. But if it does, that's cool. But it also, there's also a music that plays right off of this ocean every day. And sometimes we forget that it's there. But it's a special kind of music to the ears, all of its own.
Well, let's take a few minutes. Where did you do your first DJ job?
Wow. Well, I'm going to try to give you the most condensed version I can.
Okay, that's good.
When I was in high school.
If it takes too long, we'll do another session a few weeks down the road.
Excellent. Like I said, when I first started in high school, I wasn't even a DJ, but we had all these different, parties, keg parties, after school dances, stuff like that. All I did was I bought every record that came out. Like I say, I was faithful to Casey Kasem's American Top 40 back then. It was my goal, with my job that I had making pizzas or, like I say, the paper routes, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, all my life I've done nothing but buy vinyl, and that hasn't changed to this day. But I had all the records back then.
Okay.
So I was the one that got invited to play. And anyway, like I say, and all I did was put a 45 on, let it play to the end, had another turntable over here, put it on. There was always a pause in between or something like that. It wasn't very good DJing. But at the same time, that led to everybody knowing me and inviting me to parties and whatnot. And then sooner or later, somebody decided to throw some money my way, and I appreciated that.
Yeah.
But like I said, I ended up getting a job at a supper club. And
where was this?
This was in Charlottesville.
Okay.
Like I say, this was my senior year. And it was a very fine dining kind of place. And I was in a work program where I got out of school early to go to it. But when I first got there in the afternoons, my job was to set up the tables for fine dining, cloth napkins had to be just so. All the, silverware had to be placed as just so. And when I was in there and the place was closed, they had a DJ booth because it was a disco at night.
Oh.
And like I said, I needed music just to play, just to work to. And anyway, I would get up there and I'd put music on, just an album on just to play while I was working.
Yeah.
And one night, out of the blue, we were busy as could be. And I'm back in the kitchen rolling silverware or whatnot. And the owner comes back here and he goes, "Jay, need your help right now." He said, "Just take your apron off. Need you to go out there, get in the DJ booth, keep the music going." And I was like, "What?" And he said, I just fired the DJ, and you're the only person under this roof that knows how to operate everything. Just get up there and do the best that you can. And back then, I was still relying on my dad to, pick me up at night. And, I was supposed to get off at 11, and that was already late. But like I said, I told him, I said, my dad ain't going to go for this. I said, I've got to, give him a call, find out if it's all right. We go through all of this stuff. It happens so fast. But the owner talked to my dad, said, I need him here until at least 2:00. I'll bring him home if we need to. And anyway, that was my first night playing. And again, I did the same
place,
thing.
Right time.
Well, exactly. and I just went and, one song to another. Nobody in there really seemed to care that there was a pause between songs as long as the energy was up there.
Yeah.
And this was the disco era. So,
that was what kind of music?
I loved it. I loved it. And, anyway, I got up there. Anyway, that night that led to the next night and then next weekend. And they claimed to be trying to find somebody and never did. And eventually, the place closed down, went out of business. And at that point, I had reached drinking age of 18. So everybody that had been coming to the supper club where I worked at started going to the local disco. And I was no exception. I followed the crowd, just to have somewhere to go. And it was just a matter of months before the owner of that club said, there's a lot of people that think you're really, really good at what you do, and you've got great song choices. And if you should ever find yourself wanting to spin here, we'd love to have you. Well, I didn't want to take somebody else's job because they already had 2 DJs. And sure enough, you just wait long enough, and then one wants a night off. And then another one wants a night off. And then, I became the number one filling guy.
Okay.
And then eventually one got married and moved away. That gave me the weeknights.
Okay.
And they weren't as busy as the weekends. So that sort of helped create my own persona during that time.
Oh.
And one of the coolest things about that period was, a lot of times on weekends, you had big name acts come in. Okay. And like I said, that gave you great exposure to professionalism among bands, because, there are bands that work in clubs, and then there are bands that are show bands. And along that line, that was where I met Bill Deal and the Rondells.
Oh, yes.
Billy Scott, Georgia Prophets, the Stylistics played there, the
Great
Artistics.
Names.
And, it was a great variety that continuously rotated and came in. And I met so many of these other beach bands that, came to be years ago, Cannonball and North Tower. That's how I met them. So many of the groups like that performed there, ended up being, huge in my life. Yeah. And
well, you're talking about some huge stars in there.
Oh, there were. And the funny thing was, I was too young to know, to be starstruck by some of them.
Oh, okay.
I think the first time I remember, like say, Russell Tompkins Jr. and Archie Bell, they were the first 2 that I was just stunned.
Yeah.
I was just stood there. Oh, can't believe this. And Bill Deal was there so often that, I really didn't take into consideration, and this was 1980.
Okay.
I didn't take into consideration that he was still a very viable, bankable, nationally known name. And, all their hits came, from 69 to 76.
Yeah.
And, 4 years later, it was like, my young mind was like, what have you done for us lately?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And, that one big mistakes of thinking.
That's part of the learning process.
Absolutely. But one night out of the blue, the owner of the club back at, we had, bands would play, several nights, and always loved working with Bill Deal when he was there. And by that time, Ammon Thorpe had left the Rondells to start Fat Ammon's band. So yes. it was kind of as if Bill Deal had started all over
Okay.
about that time. Had a great band, super musicians, but it just wasn't the original Bill Deal and the Rondell. So, there was a little bit of people giving garbage about that. But one night at the end of closing, the owner of the club comes back and he says, Bill would like to talk to you in the back. He goes, I've already talked to him about this. If you want to do it, it's got a green light, from my end. Okay. And first of all, I was relieved because when he would never call me back there at closing time.
Yeah.
First thing I thought I was in trouble for something. I was about to be reprimanded for something I'd done wrong or something I'd said on the microphone. But Bill Deal was sitting back there and he says, listen, he goes, I just love the fact that every time we play here, you give us such great introductions. You play such good music in between the band sets, and you got a great rapport with virtually everybody, that's in the band. And he goes, I proposed this question a couple months ago, and everybody seemed to jump on board. So we're trying to make it happen. How would you like to go on the road with us, be our personal MC? Because, I don't like to go other places and get this dry, sad introduction from somebody that has something to do with that event. He goes, I always want your voice to say Bill Deal and the Rondells, and he says, now he goes, with that, he goes, we go all over the place, Jay. He goes, so you're going to be exposed to everybody else when you're playing the breaks, you've got to keep your skills together. He goes, you can't let this get in the way of what you're good at. And it ended up doing so, but that was because I didn't realize that by being their personal MC, I'm also a roadie.
Okay.
And everything was heavy, and it was always a long trip. The speed limit was lower, took you longer to get there. At any rate, like I say, I was the first one to get there, the last one to leave. That's why I got so much respect for people that are now front of the house engineers. And like I say, sound men, for those that don't even know about front of house. But like I say, it just wore me out. It was great for, at times, but like I say, it wore me down. Like I say, just as it would anybody. But I was 21. Like I say, I was much stronger, much more ignorant than I am now. But like I say, a lot of education came with, I only stayed with him a little over a year. But my first trips to Galveston, Texas, Miami Beach, New York City, all came by way of Bill Deal and the Rondells.
Well, I got to tell you, this is an absolutely great story. We're already several minutes over. I mean, this has gone so quick. I'm going to ask you, would you mind maybe in a few weeks coming back and let's do a follow-up to this? And go, we're just now getting into the life, which I was wanting to hear about. Well, we've had such a great time together.
Absolutely. I appreciate the invite. I told you I'd get a little long in the tooth.
No, this is what we look for. This is what a podcast is all about.
Right on.
But it just fits. People love you, and they want to know. They don't know what I just heard, that story. How many people know that you traveled with Bill Deal and the Rondells? Yeah. I mean, a few.
Sure.
But you know what? A lot more of them are going to know it in a few weeks.
That's good. That's good.
And there's a lot more stories that I want to hear.
I've got loads of them. I've got loads of them.
We're going to have a part two, brother. I can tell you that right now.
I look forward to it. I appreciate the invite here today.
Oh, thank you. And thanks, folks, so much for tuning in today. It's been great here with the Mr. Jay Kinlaw, the Superjock, and we will be back in a few weeks. And from Surfside Stories, we will see you next week.